Hello, in this tutorial we're going to be covering some more advanced game techniques. First I'm going to set up, let's call these zombies, and we're going to make the zombie objects be functions of, we'll just start out with X and Y for now. And I'm going to make a pause vector. Pause is short for position. This is a built-in object constructor. So I'm making an object that makes an object, if you catch my drift. And I'm taking those X and Y coordinates and I'm putting them into the object. It's a little convoluted, like I could just say new p vector, but I'm also going to tie in a draw function to this. Prototype to inherit. Let's fill the zombies a green color. Remember RGB. So 0 red, all green, 0 blue is a solid green. And just to be a little bit obtuse, I'll just pick a different green color. Okay, so this this will be ARR, short for array. So I'm going to set up array object that's empty for now, but then I'm going to use a for loop, and I'm going to start my for loop at 0, and I'm going to, let's say we want 10 zombies approximately. Well, exactly 0 to 9 is 10. So I'm going to use the push function and what this does is whatever I put in these parentheses right here, it's going to put into the zombie array. And what I want to put into it is new zombie objects. So this is my syntax for my zombie constructor. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. And what does the zombie constructor require? X and Y coordinates. So how about random X and Y coordinates? Random is a function that requires a stopping and starting, a starting and stopping number. So 0 to 400 just for this pixel range right here, an X value somewhere in that range. Same thing for the Y. So that is all going into the zombies, which is getting pushed in to the zombie array. I think I got all those all those parentheses lined up right. Now, instead of going straight into the draw function, I kind of like to set up a series of functions that handle draw events. So it's called cleaning the draw loop, but instead of like filling up the draw loop with clutter, why not just start with it clean to begin with? So one of the things that draw is going to have to do is to render zombies. It's going to have to go along and draw all of the zombies. Well, how do we do that? We need to loop over this array. So this entity right here is the ith element in the zombie array, and we're just gonna draw that. Now in the actual draw function, background, render zombies. So in this, that's a pseudo error. That's the website glitching out. In this function, for each zombie, we're gonna set up a fill color, and then just a really simple zombie. I'm gonna draw a rectangle, and there's my zombie army. Now I am going to set up another zombie prototype, so I'll just copy this. But I'm going to name this one update. So each iteration of the draw loop, I'm going to randomly move the zombies around. So -1 to 1, that means you can either move it left or right. By 5 pixels. I'll just do the same thing for Y. And now here, where they're being drawn, I'll just update them as well. And now we have a bunch of randomly updating zombies. So to make this even more game-like, come in here somewhere and just quickly sketch out a character object. So let's pick a more character-like image. Instead of a leaf, I'll have a little sapling move around. And to make this move function work correctly, I'm actually going to back up a little bit and set up an array and some event listeners. Whenever a key is pressed, I'm going to take the key code and set that equal to true. If you want to get some more insight into what's going on here, you could print out the keys array and then type some keys, and like you'll see like some true values pop up. And do the same thing for key released. Except for setting everything that is released to false. Now we can use the keys array in the character prototype move function by saying for example, if keys up is true, this dot y minus minus, because y is decreasing in that direction. I'll just copy and make 4 of those. And set up a dummy variable to test out that the character object is working correctly. Write test.draw in here. Seems to be having some issues. Whoa, what happened here? That autocomplete probably screwed that up. Excellent. So give this a more sensible name. should act exactly the same. Okay. I want to be able to make characters with a specific width and height variable. So I go back up to the character constructor and I add W and H. And then I go into the draw and I make the image depend on this.w, this.h. Now I want the character to start out with a health of 100. Go back up to the constructor, make a health variable. So what we're going to do with the health is we're going to set a fill color of something other than the background color. I actually want my health to be red, kind of like Diablo. The red potions are for health, and the blue potions are for mana. Maybe sometime later I'll come along and make health and mana potions. But anyways, I'm going to put a red bar across the top of the leafer guy that follows him around, and then make its length depend on the health variable. So here's how we do that. I don't think this.x and this.y is going to be the coordinates that I want, but then I'll just translate them later. And for the width, I am going to put the health. In some cases, you might want to scale that, but you just do that like this. So if health is 100 pixels, it's going to be 50 pixels. Why don't we make this height of the health bar actually depend on the height of the character image? So since that's 20, like a good depth for that might be like 2 pixels. So that's height divided by 10. And there's our health bar. So it's always good to get into the habit of saving things. We'll name this zombie. I have no idea how to spell apocalypse. Let's go ahead and save. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at collision detection, and if the zombies collide with my player, then I'm going to reduce the player's health. So we'll start out by naming a function. And we're going to have to loop over everything. We're going to have to look at the position of every single zombie not draw them, but very simply, what we can do is look at the distance between a zombie and the player, and if it goes below a certain radius, then we'll just count that as a collision. Later on, like, I would rather have rectangles overlapping as my parameter for collision, but so distance is a function that takes 2 points and it returns the length between them, the Cartesian length. So the first 2 parameters, I'm going to put now I think I used something funky. I used pause. So .pause.x is going to be that number. So we're looking at the ith zombie and we're looking at its x position, y position, and we're comparing that with Leaf Jr.'s x position, not .pause, because in this constructor I just made everything x and y. There was a reason I used position vectors for the zombies. Like, there are things that are very good for using vectors, but something as simple as what I have right now, like, there's absolutely no reason I should have used this, but I think later on I'm going to come along and actually use some of the methods that are built into p-vector objects, just because. But right now, let's just finish off what we're doing. So if the distance between them is less than, I'd say 30, we'll call that a collision. And what are we going to do if we have a collision? Let's test this out now. Did not call the function, did I? Negative health variables. We ought to add one more parameter in here. If this value is greater than 0 and the distance thing, then subtract. That'll prevent that health variable from shooting off the screen. And I think that's about it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.